guys, welcome back to the channel. We are here with Aaron. He wasn't able to be part of the podcast this week, but we really wanted to talk about Mass Effect Andromeda with him because he got to finish that game, and we want to know how it is. So, Aaron, how was the game?
Just in case you can't see it in the background, it's on my TV right now for a very good reason. This game rocks. Just brilliant. Despite all the naysayers, despite all of the backlash over the bugs that they have and the fixes that need to be made, which have most of all been addressed very recently, it's even with it, with all its deficiencies, it was an amazing game. Character development in it was great. You went from being a nobody to the most important person in Andromeda, as the Pathfinder. So yeah, it was a great rags to riches story and a great space opera and an excellent action shooter.
Okay. I mean, how does it compare to the previous renditions of it? I know you were saying something about that.
The previous
not a big hero already to start.
The previous games, you already started out as a hero. Playing as Shepard, you were already well known. You were a candidate for the Spectres, which is like the highest. It's like our Delta Force, basically. So being that, and then getting to the legendary status that you attain during the trilogy is much different than starting off as someone who wasn't even supposed to be the Pathfinder and then getting thrown into that position, not getting any respect because people know you weren't supposed to be in that position, and then attaining it one grinding mission at a time and eventually becoming the person that everyone didn't realize that they needed.
Right. Hey, one thing I loved about your article, Aaron, so if you haven't read the article yet, it just dropped this week. I believe it's called Mass Effect Review. It has spoilers in the title, so you'll know what you're getting yourself into. But having read it and edited it, it's not a whole lot of spoilers. It's worth the read, especially if you're on the fence about it. But one of the great things that you mentioned in that article, and I want you to maybe talk a little bit about it right now, is one, the crew that you have, and then the idea of the loyalty missions and how that ties into what you just talked about being an unknown and having to go from rags to riches.
Well, the crew you accumulate over time. You attract people who the galaxy really hasn't, they don't have a space for. By the time you get to the Nexus, which is the central hub, which is kind of like Mass Effect, the original trilogy Citadel, there's been rioting. People have been exiled from the station. All the Krogan are gone. And things are just a mess. And you find 3 of your 5 crewmates through 3 of your 6, I'm sorry, through just meeting them randomly. You find a Krogan that loves to kill Ket, which are the main antagonists. You find an Asari that is designated a rogue academic and is off on her own studying the Remnant, which is basically this galaxy's version of the Protheans. And then the final one comes as he's kind of the wild card. He's a part of the new species that you meet when you get to Andromeda. You kind of stumble on their home world accidentally. And he accompanies you, number 1, to see if you're worthy of the trust of his people. Number 2, to see if you're willing to go, what limits you're willing to go to defend both your people and his. And it's great character development the whole way through, proving yourself to them. It's all the game. Like I said in the article that I wrote, the game's all about building. You start from nothing. You build yourself as a Pathfinder. You start with knowing nothing about the galaxy that you're in, or at least you thought nothing that you thought you knew was true. And you start building on that. You start building habitable planets. You start building outposts. You start building relationships with other species. You start building alliances with the people that were exiled, for example. There's just there's a lot packed into this. I shouldn't say packed in, because it's a decently long game. My first run through was about 60 hours, I believe, and that was not even to get the hardest trophies. That was just me playing and doing whatever side quest I wanted whenever I wanted, not trying to be a completionist or anything. But it took me a good chunk of time.
That's just to go off the main story. That wasn't really
the main story with a couple offshoots and the loyalty missions, like BCON brought up. Those are very, very different from the original trilogies, because the original trilogy really just had you. They were like one-off missions that weren't difficult per se. Most of the time, they were actually much easier than the regular storyline. But now, the loyalty missions I found were more difficult than the actual main storyline, and the one of them was even harder than the ultimate battle that you fight against the Archon, who's the main antagonist of the story. I died more times on that mission than I did in anything else I've ever played, and it was frustrating, and it was diabolically tormenting. But it made, and this is to be said about all of the loyalty missions, not just that one. It made gaining their loyalty actually worth something, as opposed to just a thing you do in the game, pushing a button. Okay, then they flip. Okay, well, now we're all good and they're going to be safe. But now it's you literally have to save someone's sister. You've got to help the rogue academic steal back the stuff that she built with the remnant tech. And it's a wide array, and it's not just go fight and kill someone. You get a choice. You can end it with blood, or you can find a way to make the situation more amicable, which is something that the other ones kind of gave you sometimes, but really it just turned out to be you killed a bunch of people and they liked you for it. Now it's you saved my sister's life. I'm indebted to you. You validated. That's the thing too. You validated my work. I'm indebted to you. I can't believe you do that for me.
The old games, you had different kind of offshoots that you could go to and stuff. I mean, what do you see in the replayability here? Do you see a lot of different branching ways that you could go, different type of things and stuff like that? Or
yeah, I've already found branches. I just started my second playthrough, and I've already found branches that you can. There are for example, one of the planets, the exiles have split themselves into two groups. One is called the Outcast. One's called the somebody else. But the point of that is that the exiles are not fighting amongst themselves. One group is raiding another. The other one is in control of the actual port town, and they're trying to the other faction is trying to weasel in and draw battle lines and gained some sort of foothold and some recognition, some power in there, and you can side with either one of them, and who you side with is really going to it's going to have a significant impact on both the people of the planet that you're setting up a regime on. You're basically kind of playing the CIA. Do we want to topple this regime? Do we not want to topple this regime? Do we want to put up this leader as they play the politics really well, because it does show every time you go back there, you can, I first, on my first playthrough, let the outcast remain in charge. And every time I went back, there were still beatings on the streets. There were still the woman who would be queen that was running the whole show. I mean, made me feel kind of bad, but that's the way it went. And now we're going to see what the other side has to offer. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of branching effects. There's going to be a lot there's a lot of trails to follow. I mean, the list, when I looked at the list of completed tasks after I saved the game, after I beat it, it was really long. We're talking like hundreds of quests, and not even getting into, there's priority missions, there's missions for allies and relationships, and there's missions for each individual planet in each of the different sections of the cluster. And then you have additional tasks. That tab is always huge because everyone's asking you to do something. And yeah, I didn't even count those, and it was still a lengthy list.
So it's definitely not a game you can get bored with, because there's a lot to be able to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anybody who goes through all those tasks, they have my respect, because there's, I wasn't going to do it. No way.
That's the way games have gotten nowadays, though. I mean, Witcher was the same type of thing, where it was just so much stuff to. Yeah,
there's so much content, and the biggest thing that I think people who are giving BioWare and EA so much flack for the bugs, the biggest thing I think they're missing, they're looking at a tiny portion of the game, and they're missing I mean, there are literally I think 9 total worlds that you can find that you can drive around on. They're completely open, and they're all gorgeous. All of them. You've got desert terrain. You've got basically what is like a bio rainforest. It's beautiful. Ice, snow, everything in between. It's literally, you can go for days and still have things to do. And I think people are really missing that, because a lot of people are saying, oh, they were rushing it. Oh, they were doing this. Oh, they were doing that. There's no way they could have rushed this game and made it as beautiful as it is. There's no way. So,
I mean,
yeah. Hey, Ron, what about the multiplayer? Talk a little bit about multiplayer.
The multiplayer is kind of like, it's kind of on the same level as Mass Effect 3's multiplayer. You're on a 4-man team, and you have a certain number of rounds that you need to survive or perform a specific task. You've got to stop some downloading. You've got to stop. You got to get an upload done. You've got to transport someone from one place to another. And it all mixes in with the survival scenario, surviving wave after wave of Remnant or Ket. And they don't make it easy on you. I remember the bronze missions. The bronze missions you could actually run through by yourself. Once you got up to 5th, 6th level, you could run through it on your own. and pick off one thing at a time and no big deal. The AI that is in this multiplayer and the AI that's in the game, they will flank you. They will use grenades. They will literally back you into a corner and never let you go. And I think it's brilliant, even though I die a lot.
Does the AI stay fairly repetitious, or does it kind of adapt?
It is random and it is adaptive. So if you're using the same power over and over again in a specific way, it will, if it can, counter it.
Oh.
If it has a shield boost and you're using energy drain, it'll hit its shield boost right after you drain its shields, and it'll be right back at 100% again. And it's really, really brilliantly done. I mean, it's fighting you like a computer would. It's fighting you like a soldier that's been trained would. And that's why most of the missions that I've done have ended in tears for me and all the rest of the people that I'm playing with. So, yeah, it's hard, but man, is it worth it when you win.
So there's excitement after. So we talk about the hard levels. If somebody's coming into Mass Effect for the first time on this and stuff, what do you think the playability is for your brand new players versus your people that really know video games? I mean, is somebody that's brand new to video games going to get frustrated?
To third-person shooters as a whole, or just new to Mass Effect?
New to third-person shooters as a whole. New to video games. Those kids that are getting onto their first game and stuff. So,
well, number one, once you draw a weapon, cover is automatic. So
that's nice.
That's going to save you a whole lot of headache. So that's the biggest thing for people who are new to third-person shooters who don't know how to work a cover-based system. This game actually works it for you, and you act like an operative. It's not an option whether you stay in cover or not. You're automatically, if you're behind cover, if you're not firing, you are down and you are where they cannot hit you. So that's going to help out new players a lot. As for storyline and being engaging, I think this is going to bring a whole lot of new people into the fold. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't, because you're starting off as basically someone who just decided. It's like you in a city full of people moving to the middle of the wilds in Africa and trying to set up a new colony. It's hard, and it's new, and you have literally no idea what you're doing, but somehow you build on what you know and you make it work. And that is it pays off in spades for me.
Okay. So playing this one and talking as gracious about it as you have, I mean, it sounds amazing. Where would you rank it in terms of with the other Mass Effect games? Would
below Mass Effect 2, above Mass Effect 3, and Mass Effect 1 would be at the bottom, because Mass Effect 1 had a lot of issues with their cover-based system and running, and yeah, it was bad. It started a great thing, but Mass Effect 2 is definitely the one to beat as far as I'm concerned, and as far as most of the Mass Effect community is concerned. That's their favorite. The only thing that screwed it up for Mass Effect 3 was the ending, and that's just people did not like the ending. And this ending sets you up perfectly for a second go at Andromeda. and it does it in the biggest shock that I got was right at the end. And if you read the article, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because it was completely.
It's a spoiler thing.
It is a huge spoiler thing, because it's something that no one talks about, no one even hints at during the entire course of however many hours you play. No one even brings up the subject of this. It blew my mind. It really did. So yeah, it's definitely worth playing just to see the ending and wonder why no one spoke about it, number one, and find out why they're so far behind you.
Okay.
It's a mystery that literally we're gonna have to wait. I don't know if they're gonna make it a DLC thing, which would be cool, but if they make it the premise of the next game, or at least part of the premise of the next game, then it's gonna be fun.
Because it's BioWare, they didn't have a season pass for it or anything, right? So we don't know if there is going to be any DLC.
No, I don't know if there's going to be DLC. They haven't announced any. All they've been dealing with so far is the backlash from the facial animations and stuff like that. Okay. So,
have you played it since they did the fixes on that?
Yeah, there was a whole laundry list of things that they were fixing. At least 16, 17 different pieces of the patchwork went in, and they fixed eye expressions, facial expressions, conversational cues, some of the I know they did a lot of eye work on people to make them more expressive. And yeah, they put in a lot of work in 2 weeks to make this patch happen. Because yeah, normally a patch will fix one or two things. This was like a Band-Aid that fit all the way over your face. So yeah, it took everything.
Well, at least they're fixing things. So that
there's complaints. They're fixing things in a hurry.
It says about BioWare and their commitment to their fans, so that's cool too.
It does, and they've always been good. They're the only company that I've had any sort of good relationship with. I mean, hell, my pre-order didn't go through, so they were going to. Microsoft told me that they weren't going to give me the deluxe bonuses, but I still paid for the deluxe game. BioWare gave them to me.
So let's go into that.
Was the deluxe worth it? Yeah.
Read my mind, Brian.
Yeah, I know. We're on the same page here. So was the deluxe package worth it, or what would you say?
Yeah.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah, I don't know what the super deluxe package had. I just remember seeing it and saying, I don't think it's worth the extra $20.
Was it like a statue or something like that?
I don't remember. I don't know. I was only worried about stuff that would affect in game, and that's where the deluxe version went. You get 2 complete sets of armor that are fully upgradable. They've gone back to the numeric system, where it's Helios armor 1, 2, 3, and 4, and each gets progressively better. And normally, when they had downloadable armor for, like, if you bought Dragon Age 2, you get the Blood Dragon armor in Mass Effect 3, or Mass Effect 2 rather. So you couldn't do anything with that. It was just what it was, and it would be that way for the entire game. These, however, both sets are completely upgradable to the 4th level, the max that that everything else goes to. So they're already pretty rad set armor at the beginning. I haven't improved anything to level 4 because I was toying with the other stuff. But I think this time I'm going to stick with one particular set and see how far I can get it to go. Because, yeah, like I said, fully upgradable would just like everything else in the game is.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it's well worth it. Sounds like a great game. So
yeah. It's beautiful. It's engaging. The cast of characters is fantastic. There are people you'll love. There are people that you will absolutely despise, but you have to work with anyway. Like I said, they did politics in this really, really well. And I kind of hate them for it, but at the same time, I love them for it.
Yeah, there's a big thing that BioWare is discussing right now that I think we'll probably talk about another time after some more things come out to kind of dive into that maybe next week or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as for just the feedback on the game, it sounds like it's something worth having. Definitely play it. I think I'm going to go out and get it.
It's gorgeous. It's fun, and the relationships that you build with your crewmates are amazing, whether you try and romance them or not. I know BioWare is really famous for that whole romance dialogue deal, but even not doing that, because the coolest person I found on the ship during my first playthrough was not the person that I romanced. So that's normally that's who I go for. I go for the cool person. But yeah, it didn't work out that way because what can I say? I love a sorry.
It happens. Which before we head out, and just want to pinpoint on, Aaron did write a great article about kind of all the things he talked about and reviewing it. It is a spoilered article, so be prepared that if you do read it, there is going to be some spoilers within it.
I don't spoil everything, but I spoil enough.
And we also had an article that came out talking about the patches that they've done to the game so far. So definitely go and check those out on malicecorp.com. Last thing to ask before we go, which system did you get it on? Because I know you have both systems.
Xbox.
So.
I got it on Xbox One.
Did you kind of do research to find out which one it was going to be better on, or did you just go with the Xbox?
I prefer the Xbox over the PlayStation.
Okay.
It's always kind of worked better for me, and it's always been more accessible, and the buttons are in the right places.
Yeah.
I don't like that X is the action button and A is the action button. I don't like getting confused, so I stick with what I know.
Oh, it sounds like we're gonna have a discussion about Xbox versus PlayStation later. That's for future reference. But thanks, Aaron, for letting us know how the game is. I like I said, I'll be going out to get it. I can't borrow it from you because I don't have the Xbox. So, BCON, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask before we?
No, definitely interested in going out and grabbing that. So, and I have PlayStation, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Thanks, Aaron.
Updating the romance options as we go.
Yeah, definitely let us know how the different bridges of replayability go. We're definitely gonna want to touch back up on that and see how well the replayability is and everything like that. So, with that, we missed you at the podcast. I know it's happening tomorrow, but we'll definitely try and get you back next week. And if you have anything final you want to say, I think we're pretty much done. Anything else?
No, just don't listen to the haters.
Haters gonna hate.
Don't
Yeah.
listen to them because you're missing out on something real good.
Player's gonna play.
Players gonna play. And I'm gonna do that right now.
Okay.
All right.
We'll catch back up with you next week, Aaron.
Okay. Later.
I think we're later.